Hello, everybody. I'm very delighted because we are learning about credit note. And I'm not going to define what is a credit note at the beginning of the lesson. I am going to define what is a credit note at the end of the lesson. Even you, as the person who has joined this class, you will be able to define what is a credit note by the end of the lesson. When we start with the definition, students start cramming. I want you to understand. I will start with a demonstration, an example that will help you understand what is a credit note. I want you to create a picture in your brain, in your head, that you'll be able to visualize and understand what is a credit note. So I will not start by defining what is a credit note, because my main goal is for you to understand. Get understanding first, then you will even be able to define what is a credit note by yourself. So I will start by doing a demonstration, an example. I can even give a story that will help you understand what is a credit note. I told you, when you join my class, you will know the difference between cramming and understanding. You will know the difference. There is a big difference between cramming and understanding. So be attentive up to the end of the lesson. And I'm going to let you know why you need credit note. Okay? Does it benefit you? Okay? Do you need to write a credit note? What is the importance of a credit note? I will be revealing unto you what is the importance. And you cannot overlook that. Ignorance, you cannot defend yourself by saying that you didn't know what is a credit note. That's why you didn't prepare a credit note where you are supposed to prepare a credit note. Ignorance has no defense. You cannot defend yourself by being ignorant. It is your responsibility to know what is a credit note. And when you are supposed to write or to write a credit note, you do it in time. So today I'm going to explain to you what is a credit note in a way that you are going to understand. Not really defining what is a credit note, although I will define it at the end of the lesson, but I am going to help you understand what is a credit note. The way I'm going to explain it, everyone can understand. Either you are a student, this is something you need to know as a student. You are in high school, you are doing business studies, you are in college doing business studies, you are doing CPA. This is something you need to know. You must understand what is a credit note. You are going to use it in your daily life. You are going to come across it. You are going to every business use credit note. I will tell you how businesses use credit note. What is the work of a credit note in the business? I'm going to tell you, and you are going to understand. So next time, a business owner is supposed to write a credit note that they don't know, as a customer, maybe you are going to hear this information. You can tell them, at this point, the case you are going through, you are supposed to write a credit note. You can enlighten them like the way I'm giving you this information. This information will save you someday. Okay? So today I will talk about credit note. And I'm going to start by asking. The first thing you must ask yourself, okay? Why do we have to write a credit note? What's the importance of the credit note? Let me start with an example. Okay? Let me start with an example. Look here, look here. Look here. You are the business owner. I need to write that. You are the business owner. You are now I have started doing demonstration. I'm using an example, so be attentive. Okay, now I have started with this first statement. You are the business owner. Now you are the business owner. You yourself, you are the business owner. You are selling goods. You have sold goods. You have sold. You have sold goods worth 10,000. Okay, I hope you are with me up to that point. You are the business owner. You have sold goods worth 10,000. Then the customer. Okay. I want to write a. Then I'm going to explain. Be patient. Be attentive. Okay, let me now explain. Okay, what I'm saying is that you are the business owner. You are the business owner. You have sold goods worth 10,000. The customer calls you. The customer calls you. Okay, let me write here. The customer calls you and tells you that some goods you sold to them are defective or they were damaged. The customer returns goods worth 5,000. Okay, I know this one is understandable to everyone. You have sold goods worth 10,000 to a customer. You are the business owner. Then this customer calls you and complains and tells you some goods were damaged and they want to return the goods to you worth 5,000. The only goods that meet their standard is 5,000. So you have already issued, and now you have sold goods worth 10,000, and you have already issued a tax invoice. You even gave them a tax invoice, okay? And you have already. Let me insert here. Okay. Okay, you have sold goods worth 10,000 to a customer. You are the business owner. Now this customer, you have already sold goods 10,000 and you have already issued them with a tax invoice. And you expect them to pay 10,000, okay? Then the customer complains, calls you and tells you some of the goods were damaged. Some of the goods were defective. I will return some of the goods, and these goods, they return some of these goods, they return goods worth 5,000. And at first, when you sold these goods to them, you issued a tax invoice. So they were supposed to pay you 10,000. Now they have returned goods worth 5,000. So they are supposed to pay 5,000. But the invoice reads that they are supposed to pay 10,000. What do you do? What do you do as a business owner to make these changes in your business, in your financial records? What do you do? What do you do as a business owner? So I hope you have written all this in your somewhere. I know you have a notebook somewhere. You have written all this. So I want to lab so that I can demonstrate more, so that you can understand. So I hope you are with me up to that point. You have issued a tax invoice of 10,000. But the customer calls you and tells you some of the goods were damaged. So I'm going to return some of the goods. You have already issued an invoice. What do you do? What do you do? Okay? Let me ask you a question. Some people will say yes or no. What do you do? The first question. Do you write another invoice? Do you write another invoice? Okay, we are here now. We are here. Most people do this, which is very wrong. It is very wrong. Okay? So, what am I saying? You have sold goods worth 10,000 and you have issued a tax invoice of 10,000. You have given this you have sold goods worth 10,000 and you have issued an invoice, a tax invoice to the customer. Then this customer complains and they have returned complaints that said that some of the goods were damaged. Now they return the goods worth 5,000 which were damaged. What do you do? First of all, you issued a tax invoice of 10,000. What do you do now? Because they have returned goods worth 5,000. Do you write another invoice? Do you write another invoice? Most people do that. Most people write another invoice, which is very wrong. Never write another invoice. This is not the right accounting procedure. Big no. Okay, let me write there. It's a big no. Never write. How do you effect changes? Never write another invoice. Another invoice. Never write another invoice. It is a big no. Do you write another invoice? It's a no. Don't write another invoice to make changes. Okay? How? How do you make these changes? The customer has returned goods worth 5,000, but at first you issued a tax invoice of 10,000. How do you make changes to make it to make the invoice to be worth 5,000? How do you make changes in your financial records? How do you make changes? That's where credit note comes in. Credit note is the one that is going to do that adjustment. Imagine Credit note is the one that is going to do that adjustment. You don't write another invoice. Just keep that invoice somewhere very safe. Just write a credit note and you are going to effect change. You are going to make changes using that credit note. The money in your invoice will reduce from 10,000 to 5,000 by using credit note. You will use credit note to reduce the amount in the first invoice. So when a customer returns the goods, you don't write another invoice. You just write a credit note to make changes, to make those adjustments. Okay? Are we together up to that point? So for those people, those business people, you make errors. The customer has returned some goods. You start writing another invoice, and you wrote another invoice on this when you are selling those goods. That is very wrong. Don't write another invoice. If you want to make changes, you have made a sale, you have issued a tax invoice, you don't write another invoice for that sale again, because you find that you have made some errors. How do you correct errors of overcharging? If you have overcharged customer, you want to reduce the invoice, you want to reduce the tax invoice. What do? You write a credit note. You write a credit note. If you want to reduce the tax invoice, you want to reduce the amount in the invoice, you write a credit note. You don't write another invoice. Oh, let me emphasize on this, okay? Let me emphasize, because most people do this. Most people write another invoice to make changes, to reduce the amount in the invoice they previously gave to customer, but they found that they need to reduce the amount in the invoice. Never write another invoice. If you find that you need to reduce the amount in the invoice that you previously issued to a customer, what you do, you write a credit note. That one, credit note will help you make that change. It will help you adjust to the amount you want to adjust to. So I hope you are with me up to that point. I know some of you have started now to define. They are able even to define what is a credit note up to that point. I'm still demonstrating. The first thing is to understand, then we can define. I know everyone now can be able they can be able now to define what is a credit note up to that point. So I have given you, do you write another invoice? That is a no. I have told you it is a no. Never write another invoice to correct another invoice. Okay? Let me repeat again. Okay? Let me repeat again. Okay? A warning. A warning. You have a business. Never write another invoice to correct another invoice. That is not the way to go. I've already explained what you should do. You find you want to adjust an invoice, to make changes in an invoice, you don't write another invoice. I hope you are together up to that point. So, let's go to the most important part. Most people will listen, because if something is beneficial to you, obvious, you are going to listen. Even when you are called for a meeting, you will always ask. When you are called for a meeting, you always ask, what is the agenda? Does it benefit me? Is it beneficial to me? Do I have to attend? Okay? Obvious, you don't want to use your time. You want to use your time wisely. Okay? So, we have been told to make most of every opportunity. So, does the credit note, who benefits? Who benefits? Who benefits? Okay, my pen is misbehaving. Who benefits? Who benefits? Okay? What am I asking? Who benefits from credit note? Who benefits from credit note? When you write a credit note, who is the beneficiary? You as the business owner, you are the beneficiary of the credit note. You must keep this credit note in a safe place, very safe place. Please secure this credit note. Please, I would advise you, keep it together with the invoice that you made changes on. Keep it together. Use a stapler. Even you can pin it together. The invoice and also the credit note. Okay? So, as a business owner, when you write a credit note, please keep it in a safe place. And if possible, you can create a file, a separate file that will put together the invoice and the credit note you have issued to customers. So credit note is very beneficial to the business owner. We are asking ourselves, who benefits? Who benefits from credit note? Credit note it benefits the business owner. It's very important. How? It helps you to reduce sales tax, which is also called input tax. How? I'm going to explain. Listen here, okay? Listen here. Who benefits from credit note? When you write a credit note, who is the beneficiary? It is the business owner. First of all, the business owner, I told you, should keep the credit note he or she has issued very safe. You should put it in somewhere that is very safe, because this credit note will help you reduce sales tax or input tax. You are supposed to pay a certain amount of tax for the goods that I told you, the example I gave you, the demonstration. You are supposed to pay sales tax of a sale that you made. You sold goods worth 10,000, but in real sense the customer returned 5,000 worth of goods. So in real sense you sold goods worth 5,000, but now because you issued a tax invoice at first for 10,000, you are supposed to pay taxes for sales of 10,000. Using credit note, it will help you now reduce the sales tax. For those who are registered for VAT, you are going to use a negative to record the credit note so that it can reduce sales tax. As you are recording the sales you have made, you are going to use a negative so that you can reduce the sales tax. Imagine you will be able to reduce sales tax. You are supposed to pay a tax of goods worth 10,000. The KRA already think that you are supposed to pay, because you issued a invoice of 10,000 at first. If you don't write a credit note, you cannot reduce the sales tax. What I'm saying is that credit note will help you reduce sales tax. Okay? It will help you reduce sales tax. You were supposed to pay sales tax of goods worth 10,000. Now, with credit note, you will be able to pay, you will now reduce sales tax from, you will not pay sales tax of goods worth 10,000, but now you will be able to pay goods sales of 5,000. Okay? What am I saying? Let me explain again. You sold goods worth 10,000, but the customer returned 5,000 worth of goods. So in real sense, you sold goods worth 5,000. Because at first you issued a tax invoice of 10,000, you were supposed to pay taxes of goods worth 10,000. But now the customer has returned goods. What do? How do you reduce this tax? You are going to write a credit note. Then this credit note is going to help you to reduce the sales tax. When you will be filing your VAT, you will record the credit note there. You will use a negative to reduce the sales tax. You will use a negative. The credit note, if it is the credit note is worth 5,000, you are going to reference the credit note, and you are going to use that credit note to reduce the sales tax when you will be filing your returns. For those who are registered for VAT, you are going to use credit note to reduce your sales tax. So credit note is very important. If you don't have a credit note, you cannot be able to reduce your sales tax. Even if it means you didn't make that sales, but you made an error and you issued an invoice, the KRA will claim the full amount because you don't have the credit note. And when you have the credit note, you are safe. You can produce a credit note and you are able to reduce the sales tax for that period that the invoice was issued. I hope you are with me up to that point. So credit note is very important. It is very important you write a credit note as the business owner because it will help you reduce your sales tax. It will help you even keep your financial record in the right procedures, right accounting procedures. And I told you, don't correct an invoice by writing another invoice. That one we have agreed. You don't correct an invoice by writing another invoice. Don't do that. If you want to make a adjustment, you want to reduce the amount of the invoice, you write a credit note. You want to reduce the amount in the invoice, you write a credit note, but you don't write another invoice. I hope you are with me up to that point. I have given an example that it is understandable to everyone. Everyone can understand the example I have given. My main goal is to help you understand. And even when you are employed to do accounting, you are able to take this thing, you are able to give this thing the seriousness it deserves. Some of you wrote credit note, they throw it away. This is something you don't throw it away. You don't throw credit note away. Actually, you should keep it together with the invoice that was adjusted. Keep the credit note and the invoice that was adjusted together. Okay, this will help you this is the right procedure to keep your financial record in the right way. Okay, so I hope you are with me up to that point. Next time I am going to stay tuned because I'm going even to help you understand what is a debit note. Okay, I told you I will help you understand things that you are going to come across in your daily life. Now you see the importance of subscribing to my YouTube channel. That is the way you can support me. And even if you need clarification, you need help, you can reach out. Okay, so subscribe, like my work, let me know if you understand what I teach. Even if you understand everything, can you just write a compliment? You are welcome. Finally, I told you I'm going to finish with this one. How do you define a credit note? Now I know everyone is able to define a credit note. The way I have demonstrated it, the example I've given you, I know you have an idea what is a credit note. You are just coming to look at my definition so that you can do some correction. So, How do you define a credit note? From the information I have given you. How do you define a credit note from the information I have given you? I know if you start with the definition, the student cannot even understand. You tell them the credit note is this and this. But when you give them, you demonstrate in a way that they are going to understand. They are going even to help you even define the credit note. Please help me define the credit note on the comment section. Even as you look at my definition, you see where you got it wrong. But I know you have an idea. Everyone has an idea. If you have been with me from the start of the lesson, you have an idea what is a credit note. That is how you understand definition. You don't understand definition by cramming, No. You don't understand definition by cramming. What is a credit note? You start cramming what is a credit note. You understand, you know how to define by getting understanding. I want you, first of all, you get understanding, then you define. And now I'm going to define what is a credit note. So this is not something new to you. I know you already know what is a credit note. A credit note is a document. It is a document. It is a document. It is a document issued. Document issued. Issued by who? By the seller. The seller, who is the business owner. The seller to the buyer. You are issuing to the buyer. To reduce, you are issuing it to reduce the amount, in the tax invoice, the invoice you have already given to the buyer. You want to reduce. It is a document issued by the seller to the buyer to reduce the amount in the tax invoice that was previously issued. I told you, okay, I've used issued 2 times. So what am I saying? You don't correct an invoice by writing another invoice. But you are going to correct an invoice by writing you can write a credit note to correct an invoice. Especially if you want to correct an invoice, you want to reduce the amount in the invoice. That is the key point. You want to reduce the amount in the tax invoice. You want to reduce, this is what I'm saying, you want to reduce the amount in the tax invoice that was previously issued. That is, you issued an invoice, but you found now you are supposed to reduce the amount in the tax invoice, but you don't write another invoice. You write the credit note to reduce the amount. You reduce the amount in the invoice. You don't write another invoice, okay? But you don't throw away that invoice. You keep it very safe. You just keep it together with the credit note. That's how you do proper accounting. That's how you prepare proper accounting records. Keep the records according to the accounting guidelines. So I have told you, I know everyone has an idea about what is the definition of a credit note. This credit note will help you reduce the amount in the invoice. You will send it as a business owner, as the seller. You will send it to the buyer, okay, to reduce the amount in the tax invoice. That tax invoice you issued previously, you are not going to correct that tax. You are supposed to reduce the amount in the tax invoice, but you are not going to write another invoice to correct that invoice. You are going to write a credit note to reduce the amount in the tax invoice. Okay? because the customer has returned some of the goods, so the tax invoice must reduce to that amount. So what do? You are going to write a credit note so that you can correct, you can make those changes. I hope you are with me up to that point. Everyone can now define what is a credit note without cramming. You have gotten the understanding. Get the understanding first, then go to definition. And that is what I promised you. But at the end of the lesson, I am going to define. We are used to starting with the definition, then we go to the body. But the last thing I told you I'm going to do is to define what is a credit note. I hope that procedure has helped you understand what is a credit note. And when we even come to define it, you already have an idea. What is a credit note? It is, you can understand in simple language. You are able to visualize even in your head. You know, education is about understanding, not about cramming. I want you to understand in such a way that you can even teach others, you can even explain to others what is a credit note. Okay? Next time, I'm going to help you understand what is a debit note. So, stay tuned. Keep checking. Now I know you are convinced. You can subscribe to my channel. You can like my work. You can comment. Now you are convinced, you have the confidence that I am offering you quality education. Now you have the confidence. Please share, tell others so that they can also learn and they can also understand, they can also know the difference between understanding and cramming.